Whenever you talk about industry, the choking point is always power, electricity. Our focus should be on how we will be able to, in the immediate term, start up power plants just like the one they have in Abia. What Otti is doing in Abia is an eye-opener for everybody that's a governor. In China, the top hierarchy are mostly engineers, not the kind of engineers we have in Nigeria. Engineers that we have in Nigeria are theoretical engineers. What we call democracy today is not designed to be effective in Africa. The government of Ahmed Tinubu should sit down, call every region of Nigeria together and say, let's have a one-party system like China. I don't care whether it's APC, ADC, or whatever it is. Let it happen. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Caesar Osahen Eyayi. I'm your advocate for the industrial development of Africa, a process that I've always maintained should begin from Nigeria. Today, I propose what we can do in the immediate term, that governors should approach southern governors, south-south governors, where you have oil, discuss with the federal government, and each state would have an industrial corridor, industrial park, a cluster, where they can have their own indigenes come in and set up factories here in the south side, because you have gas right here. The gas is here. Whenever you talk about producing products, whenever you talk about industry, the choking point is always power, electricity. In a country like Nigeria, where we only have 13,000 megawatts of installed capacity, average power delivery on a daily basis is between 4 or at the maximum 5,000 megawatts of power a day, which is grossly insufficient for a country like Nigeria. And so what do we do to deal with that problem? If you look at what is going on in Abia State at the moment, but Otti started a power plant in Aba or close to Aba, and they started building this power plant. It's not a combined cycle, it's just a single cycle power plant, which is very expensive to run because you only get about 30% recovery of the energy that you put in. If it's a combined cycle, you get 66 to 70%. But as they say, half bread is better than none. But Otti started this power plant in Aba, and the history was that the person that was in one of the banks, who was Otti at that time, Otti supported by Otti through loans. And by serendipity, Otti became the governor of Abia State. And so when he discovered that the problem that they had was that but Otti couldn't connect to gas, he now facilitated that to happen. So that brings us to the issue I'm talking about now. What they have there now, I believe, is less than 200 megawatts. But it is something. It is able to power Aba, give Aba traders light, give them energy to run their factories, to run their shops. But we need something more than that. If you can have that already working in Abia, what should stop other governors, particularly those in the north, in the middle belt, from coming to the south-south and form an industrial corridor for the entrepreneurs in their own state so they can start manufacturing things in the immediate term, with the intention that some years from now, we will have the capability, when we bring on plants here in Nigeria, the plants we can use to melt ingots and then make pipes. Because it is very, very expensive to import pipes into Nigeria. If you can have iron ingots and you melt it, then you can now make pipes and have the capability to take gas pipeline to any corner of Nigeria on the cheap at a very competitive, inexpensive rate. What we do now is very expensive. We need to think on how we can do that eventually. But now, at this very moment, our focus should be on how we'll be able to, in the immediate term, start up power plants, just like the one they have in Abia. We can have it in all the south-south states where we have gas. Those states that do not have gas, we can't take gas to their destination immediately. They can come to the south-south and draw an MOU with the south-south governors and set up their own plants. What Otti is doing in Abia is an eye-opener for everybody that's a governor, that it is possible. Now I know that I've heard they are even expanding to another 200 megawatts. So imagine if 36 states governor come to do that, and you bring your entrepreneurs to the south-south and you start manufacturing things. That would be a huge leap for Nigeria. If you want to wait until the Nigerian federal government is able to increase our capacity to 60,000, it will take forever. It may never happen. The easiest way for it to happen is for us to start independent plants, which 10 years ago was illegal, but now it is legal. So the only trouble that a governor that is elected is going to have now, which is systemic, is that when he wins a seat, his immediate problem will be, oh, if I invest long term, before it will come to fruition, I will not be there again. Somebody else will come and take the glory. So there's no incentive to have a long-term plan. And that is what we need. We need a long-term plan. That is why I have been advocating that what we call democracy today is not designed to be effective in Africa. Democracy is for people that are educated, are well learned, that will vote according to issues, not according to tribes, not according to religion, not according to how much somebody can put in your pocket as bribes or how much bags of rice they can give to you. They have bastardized the entire political system. The so-called democracy is now a source of problem for Africa. That is why I'm advocating that Nigeria, the government of Nigeria, the government of Ahmed Tinubu should sit down, call every region of Nigeria together and say, let's have a one-party system like China, where you will now be able to gradually filter out people that are not competent from the party, and you now have competent people. In China, the top hierarchy are mostly engineers, not the kind of engineers we have in Nigeria. Engineers that we have in Nigeria are theoretical engineers. That is, they understand the theory, they learn about the theory, but they do not understand the practical aspect of engineering. The people that you have in China, they understand both the theoretical and the practical side of engineering. And that is very important, because when you have an engineering mind, a scientific mind, you reason with logic, not with emotion. Right now, we reason with emotion when we are taking decisions on how to manage Nigeria resources. Otherwise, you can't have people in government that have access to so much money kept away, idle, doing nothing, when we need to have a combined cycle power plant that can generate power and power industries that can manufacture finished products made in Nigeria here by Nigerians that we do not need to import anymore. At that point, we will now start having a situation where we can control the level of our currency. We will not be at the mercy of importation. You think it's not possible, but I know it is possible. So I want to encourage the Nigerian government to start thinking of how to make Nigeria a one-party state. Right now, I heard that out of the 36 state governors, more than 30 or so are now in the APC. I don't care whether it's APC, ADC, or whatever it is. Let it happen. If it's APC, let it be so. It doesn't matter who is there, insofar as gradually we will now start having a direction. Right now, we are like a ship without a rudder, no direction. Everybody is anxious for the next election. Everybody is anxious to win. There is no long-term plan for Nigeria. We need a long-term plan for Nigeria. To run Nigeria successfully, we need to have a long-term plan. And that can happen if we copy the model of the Chinese. The man that turned China around is called Deng Xiaoping, who in 1978 said it doesn't matter whether a cat is white or black as long as it can catch mice. What he meant by that is that if you see anything good about democracy, you pick it. If you see anything good about the communist system, you pick it and allow your system to work. So, to carry the cross of democracy and be jumping up and down and shouting democracy, 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 when we know there's no democracy in Nigeria, we already know the winner of the 2027 election. Whether you like it or not, we know the winner already. Why waste resources to do it? If you had a one-party system, the party will come out and say, this is the next president, already adopted. This is the next governor, already adopted. We will not have to waste over 900 billion naira to conduct any election. It's more than that, because the candidates will spend more. Waste of resources. So what I am stressing is that the foundation of manufacturing is electricity. God gave us gas. We can use that gas. If the governors know that they don't have to worry about the next election in the next 4 years, they can plan. They'll say, no. This system is wrong because they will continue to abuse the system. The system has been abused since 1960. It has never worked. It is time for us to step back and look at it and ask ourselves, is this thing working or can we make a change? Yes, we can make a change. And that change, if we make it, to now be the foundation of our industrial revolution. Until we do that, there is no governor, there is no president that will do a project that will take about 10 years when he knows that he may not win the next election. He wouldn't do it. That is the nature of human beings. So we must take advantage of the selfish nature of human beings to emphasize and tell the West, thank you very much for supporting us. We want to be able to manufacture things like you. We want to contribute to the development of humanity like you. We don't want to be the backward country, the dark continent that there's no light. We want to see light because God said, let there be light. You have light. The system has worked for you, but so far it has not worked anywhere in Africa. See what happens at Africa. After Nelson Mandela, other people came in and they took South Africa back. When white people handed over to black people in South Africa, they had democracy. White people knew how to run democracy. Black people came in, they don't know how to run democracy, and the worst people always win the election. And when they get there, they destroy the system. So much so that South Africa is now a backward nation compared to the way it was in 1992. So, what lessons are we to learn from this?